her to design our clothes. Okay, make us look slimmer.
Let's go. Yes, let's do that.
Business Lab.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Dairy Voices, a segment of the Business Lab. This episode is sponsored by ID Entity, Craft by 3
and the magic of Studio 5 Corp.
Yes, thank you for our kind sponsors. We have with us today Ms. Hafizah Ghazali. Welcome to the studio and thank you for being here.
I like her name,
Hafizah Ghazali. Yes,
it's a strong name.
Hafizah is a graduate of LaSalle School of Arts,
Yes.
and she did her debut at the Audi Fashion Festival and Singapore Fashion Week. These are very prestigious events for you to debut in.
Alhamdulillah, yes.
Congratulations, you've
Thank
had
you.
such an illustrious career and you started so early. What year was that? 2014.
14. Yeah, it was 2014. Wow.
I see. Tell us, what got you into fashion?
Okay. Why I choose fashion, or why I signed up for a fashion course, was because I grew up watching my late grandmother sewing. So she was a seamstress, and I am greatly inspired by that. Because I saw her making things from scratch. And I like the idea of being able to make things with your own hands. So I signed up for fashion school. I signed up for fashion school because I wanted to learn how to make garments and the engineering part, the drafting part. Yeah, so I was more interested in that. Yeah.
Did you learn from grandma when you were growing up? Did you
Not exactly,
her?
because I was still very young. Yeah, but I saw her
How
grit.
young
I saw her determination.
at that time?
I was, I think, pre-teens.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-teens.
And she was making things for people or for the
Yes,
family?
yes,
Oh,
for the family, for both family and people. But it did leave a lasting impact on me. Yeah, and like when I watched her do things and how, how detailed she is, when she delivers her products, so I wanted to be like that.
I see. And that got you into LaSalle, studying fashion.
Yes.
What was your mark on fashion? What was it that was different when you went through school that made you debut on such
I'm sure the
prestigious
flying
places,
colours.
right?
I'm sure flying colours.
Was it cultural? What was the inspirations behind your fashion?
I think there was nothing out of the extraordinary. I was just honestly, I was just another student trying to make the grades. And but yeah, it was the Audi Fashion Show was. I think honestly, I got lucky because it was the top 20% gets to debut their collection at the prestigious show. Yeah, so Alhamdulillah, to a certain extent, I managed to push myself and. Yeah, you got selected for it.
I see, Alhamdulillah.
That's good news, yeah.
That's really good. So it started with traditional fashion.
Yes.
Regular clothes for regular people.
Yes.
And then how did sustainability get into the mix? Did something happen along the way?
Of course, something happened.
Tell us.
Okay, so when I started out, it was just honestly, I would think of my brand as just another regular women's wear label.
Okay.
We just want to make pretty clothes, for people to feel good, But along the way, I think there were several factors that actually that helped me to pivot, and transit into the sustainable or slow fashion label.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that helping the I think environment was something that you started also
yes,
quite
true.
early. You also were working with an NGO. Tell us
Correct,
about that and how that shaped what you do today.
So when I started the label, it was still a side gig. Yeah, so I was working full time with an NGO, and one of the projects that we did was a conservation project. So it was in the Lusa ecosystem in North Sumatra. We work with young change makers. So what we do is we go overseas and we do community projects. So this conservation project, it was really immersive, and it. One of the things that we do was to get involved in the forest regeneration projects. We learn about the ecosystem, It's very special because it's also the last place on earth that orangutans, rhinos, tigers coexist. Okay, but anyway, after several rounds, I started to question, I got attached to the cause, environment, because it's also I learn and grow with the cause. And towards the end, I actually have a good mentor who told me that, Hafizah, magic happens at the intersection of two things. So maybe yours is fashion and environment.
Wow.
Yeah, at the
Repeat
same
that
time,
for me. Magic
yes,
happens
at the intersection
of two things.
Sustainability
Yes, and fashion.
Fashion.
Yes.
Okay.
At the same time, I was also exposed to there's this tragic accident. It's called the Rana Plaza tragedy.
Okay.
So it happened in 2013, where in Bangladesh there was the tragedy actually resulted in about 1,000 deaths of garment workers. Okay, so we're talking about an entire building here that collapsed. Because the working conditions are horrible, and because of that, it was actually a major turning point for consumers and people in the fashion industry. People start to question like, where are my clothes made? How are they made? What conditions were they made in? So all these issues about the end of the supply chain started to come about, and we are more, we want to know, we demand to know who make our clothes at the end of the day. Yeah, so all these factors actually eventually led me to thinking, if like the fashion industry, like it's a lot of glitz and glamour, but underneath it are also issues on like serious issues about mass production, mass consumerism, unethical
labor,
productions, all unethical
unethical.
practices. We're talking about like sweatshops, So I told myself, if I want to continue making clothes, I don't want to be part of this. Yeah.
You want
It's
to
a
be
tough
part
decision.
of the change.
It is.
That was a tough decision.
Of course, but of course the change or the transition doesn't happen overnight, and there was a lot of struggle and there was a lot of struggle.
Who was the first person you told when you had this epiphany? And did you get the support that you were hoping for right from the beginning?
I have a partner, so she is my co-director. Her name is Fatina. She was very supportive, of course. I think also because deep down we also know that in order for us to make changes, it's going to be a lot of work, but at the end of the day it's also part, how do I put it, as Muslims we know that our responsibility is as stewards of the earth, and
satisfaction.
yes, exactly. And if we want to make clothes, it will be of a better purpose if it also comes with a social and also environmental impact.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
I
So
think sustainability is a very new topic, right? I think that definitely there'll be challenges. Do you have a team actually that were working with you?
Yes, you're looking at the team.
and your co-director. Yes,
Yes.
that's amazing.
We do have ad hoc part-timers and freelancers that we work with. Yeah, so it's very fluid like that.
I see.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and you also
So
work
it's a
with a
small
lot
team
of people.
Yes, correct.
Okay, you also work with a lot of people to manufacture
Yes,
different things
of course, yes,
and all
I work
that.
with
So
government
you're the
workers.
brain behind the operation, and then you work.
Yes.
So share with us one challenge. If you had one challenge that you could share with the world of how you had to connect the two, sustainability and fashion, what would it be, and how did you overcome it in the end?
Challenge. I think one of the biggest challenge is, of course, in terms of production. When you talk about like manufacturing garments, you talk about sourcing from the best places, and of course the best places or the best production houses normally offer like big MOQ, but for us, one of the challenges is to go to, like, one of the things that we consciously decide on is to go to small production houses, where we can work with the workers and the seamstresses and the garment makers directly. So we know their working conditions, and we liaise with them directly. There's no middleman, and as much as that is a challenge, it's a struggle, it also gives a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction at the same time. Yeah, but at the start it was not easy because the smaller production houses means sometimes they are not regulated, or their standards are not as high as the bigger fashion houses or bigger production houses. Yeah, so I guess.
So where is these production houses that you are working with?
We have one in Malaysia and Indonesia also. Yeah.
I'm assuming the cost is definitely cheaper going to Indonesia and Malaysia.
Yes, definitely.
So do you design your own clothing, or you also ask the production house to design for you?
We design. So I design them in-house. So in-house
design
designs.
also.
Yes, of
And then
course.
we manufacture.
After that, ask her to design our clothes. Okay, make us look slimmer.
Let's go. Yes, let's do that. Sure.
She's love to do that. Okay, all right. So it's interesting. I think I've in my career and in the many interviews that I have done, I seldom came across business people who are actually very concerned about environment. You know, these sustainable practices, which actually is very hard to understand, right? I mean, not many people will understand what sustainability is all about. So maybe you can also tell us more about this Pokok Kite tree planting initiative that we heard about. How did it start and how it has grown over the years?
Okay. So Pokok Kite started because okay, just now early on I mentioned that I had some background with forest regeneration projects.
Okay.
So that was our tree. So eventually that became my tree planting partner. Pokok Kite started because in 2020. Okay, but before that, prior to that, we were already we had this initiative where it's called buy one plant one. So for all the garments that people buy for all the products that people buy, we'll plant a tree on their behalf.
Oh.
Okay, so we had the response was very good, and I had customers and also non-customers alike asking us, like, can we plant trees even without buying your clothes? So I was thinking, okay, you know what? I was discussing with my team, and then we thought that okay, let's come up with a Pokok Kite initiative where we plant trees. Anybody can chip in to plant trees. They like it because there's a dedication part. So for all the trees that you plant, we issue you a certificate. So normally, like, they dedicate it to as birthday gifts, friends, family members, and things like that. Yeah. So it started in 2020 because funny story. It was during Father's Day. So Father's Day was coming up, and then because we make clothes for women, right? So we don't have anything to offer to the dads. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let's start this initiative on Father's Day. Where we call it Trees for Abba. Okay, the first one was called Trees for Abba. So people they can dedicate trees to their father. And we already had a plant partner. So all the structure was there already, right? And then I was anticipating, okay, there's probably 100 trees or 200 trees, I have this small team to make the certs and do all the admin work.
How many did you get in the
We
end?
had dedications for 4,000 trees.
Wow.
Which was
4,000
amazing. Yeah, and I was, yes, behind the scenes, I was all over the place. I was calling people, hey, please help me make the certs. We have to form a bigger team to make the certs. So the good response actually prepared us to develop the initiative further. So henceforth, we have Pokok Kite initiative every month. So we open the registration period on the last week of every month. So people can just write in, email, and okay, I want to dedicate how many trees, and yeah.
And to who?
So
and
are
then
you
the
giving this for
counts
free? I
out.
mean, for this Pokok Kite
No, of course not.
initiative?
So we charge
Oh,
per
so you
tree. The
charge.
cost per tree is $5.
Okay.
Our planting site is in Indonesia, so there's a few places in Indonesia that we plant trees lah.
Can you pick
sorry.
what type of tree? It's a standard tree.
Not exactly, it's a standard tree.
It's a standard tree.
Yeah. So
okay.
as much as sometimes we have like a dreamy idea of, can I plant like I don't know,
Okay,
this
after
tree and
this
that
we
tree.
will-
the execution.
Right. But the truth is, when we work with the planting partner, we also need to understand what they need on site. So one of the trees that we planted, that we plant is it's actually just a mangrove tree, but the mangrove tree, there's stronger and more environmental impact from planting mangrove trees lah. Yeah.
Because they hold
So
onto the
it's
earth,
interesting,
right?
Sheila, that after you plant a tree, right, then you name after your Abba or whatever, right? So what happened after that?
Okay, we don't actually name the trees, or
Oh, so you don't name the tree?
Yes, we just like give the cert. So there's a cert that says that
okay.
this tree is planted, on behalf of who, by who, But the trees, we get a lot of misconceptions. So a lot of contributors think that we plant in a nice farm, it's like closely regulated, but it's in the wild. It's at the coastline, it's at the shores. Yes, because we want to one of the objectives is to prevent erosion of the of the shores. Yeah. So of course, there are some trees that they don't make it, because it's in the wild, and
that's
we
true.
don't track or we don't label every
Make
tree.
it tak ada refund Cakap
Tak ada.
Ini kira contributing to sustainability.
Yes.
I mean, for the environment,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The support is so wonderful.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
But yeah.
You make,
I mean, this is really very creative, and I think not many people will actually think of going into this. I think something that we are proud of.
Thank you.
But I know along the way you will have challenges in actually scaling up your business, and because sustainability is something new. So maybe you can tell us more about what are the challenges and what are the lessons that you learn that you can share with the
Of
listeners.
course. I think one of the biggest challenge also is in finding balance. So we want to, at the end of the day, we're still a business, right? We want to profit,
Yes.
Of course, profitability matters. But at the same time, we also want to balance with creating good social environmental impact, and advocating for conscious consumerism and things like that. Yeah, I think besides that, like I mentioned earlier, the sourcing part, when we transition, there are a few steps, there are a few goals that we set. So, so one of them is actually to omit the use of plastics for our packaging, so we completely stop using plastic,
How do you package it?
We replace them with either recyclable cardboard boxes or we found another solution, which is it's not plastic, it is a cassava packaging, so it is biodegradable.
Cassava is ubi,
Yes, ubi.
Yes.
So mana tu nak pack dengan ubi?
I mean,
Yes,
the process.
but you cannot eat the package. Yeah. So of course, it's more costly, right? So challenge in terms of finance and then what else about sourcing the material? So we talk about sustainability. We talk about better quality fibers, textiles, fabrics. And to find reliable and trustworthy. What do you call that? Suppliers. That also matters. And of course they are more
It's not
costly.
going to be.
I think first and foremost, we need to understand how the interior design industry works here in Singapore. So majority of the IDs or the people who work within the interior design companies, most of them are actually freelancers. They are not employed based on a full-time basis, so they work on a commission basis. So, and some business models or some ID companies want to have a lot of ID so that they can close a lot of projects on. My personal tip here is start with visiting the IDs that you have shortlisted or you're interested in. Look at their place of work, look at how they work, look at their office. Once you have done that, I think what you should also do here is to ensure that these IDs that you potentially want to engage are HDB licensed. Last but definitely not least, and to me the most important, because I think nobody do this. Okay. Once you have confirmed, or let's say for example, you really want to sign with this ID company, right? Go to Accra website and pull out the company's profile. Firstly, you know who are the directors, you know where is their office, you know when they were incorporated. Most importantly, you know how much they actually put in as the initial investment or their capital. So in the context of my industry, right, the ID industry, right, I always advise my clients, don't look for cheap, look for value. Okay? Because cheap don't guarantee you that you're going to get what you want. Okay? Because in order to be cheap, there are corners that I need to cut. But instead look for value. And when I talk of value here, it's not just what I use to build your home, how I communicate with you, how prompt am I, you know, how am I, how I can advise you, you know, these are all the value I add, you know. So like for us, because I maintain a very small team, right? So we only manage between 2 or 3 projects a month. We don't do a lot of projects. So this way, my people are better at managing that project. We are at site more frequent. We are constantly there to check if there are mistakes being made, you know. And our communication with the owners are more frequent, more kira macam more in depth. We are able to, yeah, correct.
You know that there's this, I don't know whether it's true, but they say that the less processed material is, the rougher it is on the skin, or the less comfortable. Maybe as a designer and a person who engineers it, yeah, you know how they always have cotton is the best, but cotton is not, I mean, it absorbs heat, not the most comfortable, but how do you make sure the quality is good, but yet it's very comfortable to wear, especially in this tropical weather? We try to stop actually using polyesters, you know, because okay, we talk about fabrics, there are 2 types, right? There are either natural fibers or synthetic fibers. Okay. So polyesters are synthetic fibers, you know, and it is not always the best choice, you know, because to start with, polyesters are made of plastic.
Crude oil, yes.
Salah.
Crude oil, it's the same thing. Crude oil, plastic. Yeah. So they are. Yes, it's the same. Yes. So we try to make the conscious effort to not use so much polyesters, you know, and use, let's say, cotton, linen, you know, even tried tencel, which is expensive.
Oh, it is, but it's so soft.
Yeah, but yes. So when you talk about comfort, you know, that is also a factor. You know, you want like the better materials, but sometimes they are not as silky and as comfortable and as cooling. So yeah, that is also some of the challenges lah.
So sorry,
madam.
I just want to know how. Have you benefited from any? Because now in Singapore, government is actually promoting a lot of sustainable grants. Have you actually looked into it, or how do you actually manage your costs? Balancing your costs.
I think not directly. That there's no like specific grant that we are benefiting from, but we have worked with. Alamak, sekejap. What is it called?
Okay.
Singapore Fashion Council.
Okay.
That's a good one. The council.
Ask the question again.
Yes. We used their space before, and it was heavily subsidized. So for like local designers, you know, it's heavily subsidized, and you know, there's a lot of platforms for us to showcase and use their space, and just a lot of benefits there lah.
Is it for sustainable practices only, or is meant for fashion all only? Fashion?
I think fashion in general, you know. But now a lot of designers are pressured. A lot of designers are moving towards the circular economy or circular, you know, fashion business model. Okay. Yeah, so that is good lah in a sense.
Okay, I have one question for you. How do you measure your success of your sustainability efforts, both locally and internationally?
Do you measure it by the number of?
I mean, when you started, it is challenging. You actually manage it. But how do you define your success in terms of these sustainable efforts?
I think normally success, like we measure it in terms of data and numbers, right? But I think, like personally, I also look at it in terms of personal development or, core values, and the satisfaction that you get when, customers write in thank you emails and things like that. But at the same time, let's say for Pokok Kite, for the tree planting initiative that we have, when we started out, it was only in Indonesia, several parts of Indonesia. There was Semarang and a few other places, But recently, we started in 2020, so there's been 4 years, and over the 4 years, we've actually planted about 20,000 trees.
20,000
Okay,
trees. That is
so
a lot
recently,
of trees.
Alhamdulillah. So recently this year we expanded. I've been wanting to expand, where we plant our trees, and create inshallah more impact. This year we started planting in Palestine, not in the war-torn areas yet, but in Hebron. Yes.
How
We
do you
started.
get into Palestine?
We have,
surprise.
that is.
Access is the problem, yeah?
Access is the problem there.
Alhamdulillah. So it's not exactly in Gaza, where it's it is in Hebron. So for now, inshallah, it's a safer place to grow, and we're looking to long term also. So they are planting trees. They've started to plant trees now, because yes, we want to help the organization. The organization that we work with is called Bin Ummah Fair Trades. And they also empower and uplift the underprivileged farmers in Hebron. Yeah, so
How do you find them?
honestly, online.
Online.
Yes.
Must have done a lot of research.
Yes, and it was
Yes.
not easy. There was actually a point where we were, ever since the war started late last year, we were just emailing, different organizations based in Palestine. I was not getting a reply, so it was frustrating at the start, like macam reply lah, we want to work with you.
I want to help.
Yes,
right?
but
Yes.
I fikir balik, I think again, relax lah, they're going through war,
Yes,
you and your first world
that's
problems,
true.
can you just relax? And then eventually, alhamdulillah, we got a reply, and with a planting partner that is mashallah so easy to work with, and they're pleasant to work with, and I just can't wait for inshallah lah, for someday we get to visit the planting site.
So does it increase your profits doing sustainable efforts compared to just doing a normal fashion?
I would say yes. Profits is one thing. Yes, we do get a small portion, from when we sell. Especially so when we plant in Indonesia, we charge about $5 a tree. And of course, for transparency purposes, because we also share this on our social media. So our $5, right? $2 is actually the cost of a tree, and the $3, of course, we pay for
All the admin costs.
Yes, all the admin costs, because it
that's
is
true.
a lot of work. Liaising with customers,
And
doing
to me,
marketing.
$5 is quite cheap. Huh?
It is.
To build a tree, to plant a tree.
Yeah,
You can
but
charge more.
in Palestine, we had to charge more, so we increased it to $20 a tree. Yes, alhamdulillah.
More difficult.
Of course, because price of tea a tree is also much more expensive in Palestine. The cost price is about $10. Yeah, and then in Palestine though, we also set aside some funds to support their farming infrastructure.
Yes.
Yeah, because they do not get support because it is a farm, right? It is not like out in the wild. Yeah, so we need to support their infrastructure, like building a greenhouse and things like that. Yeah, so that's why it's also
So
extra
some of the
costly.
funds
Have you
go
been to
into
Palestine?
supporting that.
To the place
Yes,
that
but
you-
then not the planting site. Not yet, because we just started about 2 months ago. For
So
farmers there.
you don't really have to go and check first.
No, yeah,
I mean,
but
now with videos.
yes, with
and,
video calls, yeah,
okay.
You
pictures.
can't run away.
Yes,
Planting tree, you can see.
yeah, yes.
You know, passion, purpose, profit. That is the keywords that we're hearing, being tossed around. And I think a lot of people stop short. They see the amount of work that has to do with saving the environment, the cost that's incurred with saving the environment. So they stop short. They have the intention, but then they stop short.
Yes.
Even sometimes when I go to SKP and look at the difference between fork and spoon of corn,
It's more expensive,
and then my
right?
mother asked me to buy, so I'm like, I do. Yeah. So
she will look for the lower price,
No, I still end up corn, but sometimes 1 or 2 times
We are tempted, of
you're
course,
tempted
of
to
course,
get
the
plastic.
temptation is there, yes.
So my question to you, maybe for the listeners, those of them who also want to start businesses, who also contemplating sustainability. I hear so much passion. I hear so much satisfaction from the segment of what you do for sustainability. Maybe share with us a strategy a key strategy that they could take on, knowing full well that these are the challenges that they see ahead? What could make them feel like this is worthwhile, like a worthwhile thing to take on, right?
Wow. I would say especially for people with kids, you think about your future generation, right? And when you say that you want to provide the best for them, I think being more conscious about what we consume, it should be a priority, it is imperative. We can't run away from it anymore. We are now experiencing the effects of, we talk about yang panas hari-hari, global warming, the El Nino, La Nina, we talk about rising temperatures, like we are feeling it, if there's not a motivation, then I don't know what is. But yeah, sometimes I do struggle also with the idea of motivation, and wanting to, be sustainable, because it's a lot of work. Selling things is one, and then advocating for the idea of, being a responsible customer, responsible consumer, right? And sometimes I do have people asking me like, kenapa mahal sangat dress ni, like, and I don't take it personally, I will go through great lengths to explain to them, because it's better quality. Better quality means longevity, means you feel, not only you feel better, but there's also, like I say, there's positive environmental, social impact.
That part is very hard to convince.
Yes,
so you
of
will
course.
tell them you're doing it for the environment.
Of course.
They will never relate to that, right?
Yes.
But maybe the younger ones,
But
are
they're
more
starting,
accepting
Of course.
of that.
Yes,
of the price
the younger
difference?
ones, definitely. So you
I
have
say
to
younger lah,
explain.
I'm very old lah. I say
So
my
she's
generation.
Young at heart.
She's reiterating that she's young, but don't say I'm old.
Yeah. So it's the advocacy part, I think, that needs to be ongoing. So people are convinced, they are making the right choice. They stay on the track, and and
We're
they
very
want to
proud
sweat
of
so
you.
much with this
and we support
temperature.
women in entrepreneurship and doing things that are so satisfying. It's wonderful.
So we are coming to the last question. So it's interesting. We have heard, and we are actually encouraged. And I think Madam Rahayu will be very happy to hear your episode, because she's one of those leaders who are actually promoting sustainability practices.
Yes.
And there are many grants actually are available that you can look into. I suggest you look into it, because must take the money lah. I mean, we are doing some social work also, because you're contributing to the environment, and not many people care.
Yes.
They just live, but they don't care what is going to happen to them. So you are a special person. So looking ahead, how do you envision the future growth and impact of your sustainable fashion label, or maybe business, I can say? So how do you want to bring it forward?
What kind of
Are
support
there
do you need?
any plans that you have in mind, or you have already strategized where you want to go?
Yep. I think, of course, as business owners, like, we dream big, right? We want to grow, we want to be the best in Singapore, in the Malay archipelago, or, in Southeast Asia. But I think internationally, yes, and you want to make your mark. But at the same time also, I think there's still a lot of advocacy work to be done in Singapore, in our community especially, when it comes to talking about green living, and about mindset change and things like that. Of course, we want to be big, we want to grow, and for me personally, I would love to expand my team, because I don't want to be the one doing the packing, the marketing, the one-man team, right? Yeah, one-man show. So, so of course, personally, I would like to grow a team at this point, and right now, when we talk about, like, in Southeast Asia, or even like Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, like, can you think of a brand that is pro-sustainable or pro? You can't. There's no one name, right? So I hope to grow into that brand. Yes.
You are.
Inshallah.
And I think Nusantara is a big market, actually. Indonesia and Malaysia, I think. So that's where you can start your effort internationally.
Yes.
We see that a lot of future growth on these two countries, right? Okay, then coming forward, what will be your advice to all the aspiring entrepreneurs who wants to go into sustainable business?
Or even entrepreneurship and then sustainable.
Yeah, okay. You can give advice because you have gone through the challenges, you know. So things that you think that
Do you
actually
recommend it?
made you success, made you
Exit.
achieve success, you know, or any. You know, you must face some setbacks, you know, because sustainability effort is really not easy. So there are some setbacks that you can actually use that to share with, to advise aspiring entrepreneurs not to do it, or to do it, you know. So along that way, maybe you can give some advice.
Right. I think I would say advice lah, maybe just a reflection. I think whatever we choose to pursue or we do, of course, it has to come from the heart. You know, people say like work hard, and also it has to be like your hard work. You know, like it has to come from your heart and your core values. You know, what you believe in. So we talk about, let's say, failures. I think Mdm Fadilah, you would of course. I think you will agree when I say, you know, like when you have a certain goal or purpose, you know, along the way you will fall and you will fail and you will falter, but you know, inshallah, if you have a strong purpose, then it will keep you going. And alhamdulillah, I think I'm very grateful that I found my purpose in again the fashion and sustainability and or fashion environment, and I think that's what keeps me going lah, alhamdulillah. And yeah, I'm again grateful, you know, because at this point, you know, Allah still sustain me, and I'm able to keep going and to keep serving the customers.
So you're saying to the aspiring entrepreneurs, don't ever give up.
Yes. Never.
You know, challenges
Will
will
come.
always,
It will
come.
there'll be obstacles,
Yes.
but you can also solve all the problems that you're
True.
facing.
Yes.
Yeah, right, Sheila?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you, Hafizah Ghazali,
you.
for being here with us
Thank
at
you
the
so much.
studio. We've learned so much from your initiatives.
Happy to be here.
You know,
And we want to have that pokok kita.
Drive.
Pokok
Pokok kita.
kita. So,
Pasti kita jumpa you,
so
okay?
Alright, let's go.
Jangan tak, $5 only.
20
Pokok
for
kita.
Palestine.
Okay,
I'll
let's
get
go.
all my Dewi people to plant a tree.
Yes.
So you heard for Hafizah, she has started something that is fashionable, at the same time sustainable for the environment. If you want to give her support, whether to plant trees, whether it is to get some sustainable
Yes.
wear,
Yes.
you know
Some
where to
advice.
find her. You can find her on Instagram at Hafizah Ghazali.
Yes.
Yes. Today has been really wonderful.
Very wonderful.
Thank you very much.
It's the first
you.
time for Sheila.
Oh, yes. I said, what? Hafizah, I should
Well done,
come. I
Sheila.
want to meet
Yeah,
her.
we read your background, we were amazed. So
Come join us on all our social media channels. SMCCI, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn. Yeah, and TikTok now. We're also on
Yeah.
TikTok. So we've
all the
got,
social media.
The Business Lab and Dewi Voices will bring you more episodes like this.
Thank you. We would like to thank the sponsors.
Who are the sponsors again for this good
ID
episode?
Entity and Craft by Tree
And the Studio
and
Magic.
Studio 5 Corp.
So
Thank
Studio
you
5
once
Corp.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Hafizah.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.